Good morning. I took a picture at Lutheran Hospital a couple of weeks ago, and the picture behind me now is that photograph. Yesterday, I was sitting in front of this heart, and people were walking by as we were at Lutheran Hospital. Today, I'm not there. This is just a photograph behind me. I'll go down later today just to visit. But I like this idea of the heart because tomorrow is Valentine's Day. And everybody's reminded of this guy named Valentine and how he loved people. But I'm reminded of the love of God and how it's the same every day. There's not just a special day of the year that makes his love more visible or more tangible. It's every day. His love is consistent, it's perfect, and it is available to anyone. I was involved in a discussion earlier this morning about the unconditional love of God and how can God's love be be claimed as unconditional if he's going to send people to hell? Well, the Bible does not say God's love is unconditional. We recognize that it is. God loved the world with such a kind of love that he gave his only begotten son. He loves us even while we are his enemies. And yet the benefits, the blessings of God's love are here. And if you're unwilling to be here in the place that he calls you to be, then you're outside of his blessing. Even though he desires for you to be blessed, he says his blessings are here. Come over here. So Paul is writing this letter, and we're way into chapter 6, verse 16, where he says to the church in Rome, do you not know that when you present yourselves to someone as slaves for obedience, you are slaves of the one whom you obey, either of sin resulting in death or of obedience resulting in righteousness. So you are a slave of the one that you choose to obey. You can choose to obey sin and be a slave unto death. Or you can choose to be a slave of obedience and serve unto righteousness. It's your choice. You choose. And the one that you obey is the one to whom you are a slave. So if you obey sin, you are a slave to sin. And boy, that's true. The more I obey the passions and the appetites of my belly, the bigger and the stronger it becomes. And the more enslaved I become. And you can apply that to every passion, desire of your flesh or the mind. The human mind loves the feeling of life and excitement and enthusiasm. That's why horror movies and mystery movies and roller coasters and all these living on the edge, pushing the envelope kind of adrenaline rushes are so exciting. That's why people love the Super Bowl. And it was a fun ending, I understand. I didn't stay awake for it the other night. But man, what a great game. I heard people talking about how exciting it was at the very end when the quarterback threw the pass in the last few seconds of the game and their team won the game. Which team didn't matter. The Minnesota Vikings weren't in it, so I didn't care. Pittsburgh Steelers weren't in it, so Mitzi didn't care. And the Chiefs and the 49ers made it to the top of the heap this year. But in a couple of years, or even next year, somebody else is going to win that trophy. The enthusiasm of the game, though, it's fun while it's happening. Your team makes a great play, gets a field goal or completes a pass or gets a first down, converted on 3, and it's exciting. It's enthusiasm. We were at the Fremont girls high school basketball game a little while ago, and in the last couple seconds of the game, one of our girls shot a 3-pointer and took us ahead. And we won the game because of it. And the crowd was just incredibly enthusiastic. It was just such a fun event and a joyful moment. Well, we love those kinds of things. But if we live for adrenaline, if we live for chocolate, if we live to ride and ride to live, then we are living for the wrong things. And Paul is calling the church in Rome and the church today to live for Christ. Submit the members of your body, your eyes, your heart, your mind, your hands, your mouth, everything. Submit the members of your body to obey God, to desire the things of Christ and have the passion and compassion of Jesus. And then you're a slave to righteousness rather than a slave to death. And it happens in the morning when you draw your first breath of the day, when you're conscious and you say, I belong to Christ. I am obedient to righteousness. And you become a slave then every day to the one who loves your soul. And he is a great master. Or you become a slave to your body with its passions and desires. And the desires of the flesh are opposite, in opposition to the desires of the Spirit. You can read Galatians 5:17. And if you're looking for another verse to read today, that would be it. And recognize we're in a war against our own flesh. Your body's not going to go to hell. It doesn't care if you do. Your body's not going to go to heaven. It does not care if you go to heaven. You're going to leave this body behind. So you control the passions of your body. Don't be a slave to your body. Make your body your slave. And your heart, your mind, then are free to love the Lord your God with everything that you are. God bless you. It's a proper, logical thing, reasonable thing for us to do because we know that God loves you. And remember that we love you too.